Hello, everybody. This is JCKay, and I have back. If you didn't watch it the first time, but Gordon Smith Duran. We did a wonderful video that went kind of viral a while ago, and I had to take it down. And there's a lot of personal stuff in it, but Gordon's back, and he's part of these sessions that I've created, or a series that I've created called Highlight on Healers. And Gordon emailed me, and I was just like, come on my show. You got to come on my show. I want to talk to you about what you do. And he was very eager to oblige. And I'm so happy to have you back here from Spain. Gordon, how is it going there?
It's going really well. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly, but because we're in Madrid, where it's a bit chilly in the winter. But yeah, wonderful. Everything. I'm so happy to be here.
I am too. I'm just so glad that we have you back again. And because I wanted to talk more about the wonderful work that you do. I mean, you do so much. And the last time it was more about just my session, and we didn't get to really talk about what it is you do, because you do such extensive work. And I have quite a few people who follow you who also follow me, and they know about your work and what you do. But you've got quite an extensive array of healing modalities, mainly focusing on hypnotherapy, but there is so much to it that I wanted to demystify it. I wanted everybody to understand how this tool, this brilliant tool, is used to really take your power and really break through some of the stuff that a lot of people are struggling with on many, many levels. So
Yeah.
did you want to start and just tell me about how it started for you, really?
Okay.
Or how did you get into it?
Okay, so I don't think we discussed the last time. I was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness for the first 20 years. I know you've had some yeah.
I got out early, very early, so thank God.
Thank goodness. I did the 20-year stretch.
Wow.
So what as a Jehovah's Witness, hypnosis is demonic. You're not allowed to ever get involved in things like that. Yeah. And so, but I was fascinated as a child. I was fascinated, and I remember having books on hypnosis, and I would secretly read them, without telling my father. And then it's life went on, and it wasn't until I was I remember one day I was looking in Waterstones, a bookshop, and I came across this book called Transformations, and it was by Richard Bandler. Okay, and I thought, that looks interesting, and it just stood out. I don't know if this has happened to you. Something stands out, and it's like, you must get me. Yeah.
Yes, Celestine Prophecy. I remember I fell off the shelf, and I was like, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. And so I picked it up, and I read it. I read it that night. I didn't go to sleep. I read it that night, and I just thought, this is for me. This is for me. So it was it was the start of me actually being introduced to NLP. I don't know if are you familiar with NLP? Yeah.
Yes, I am. But if you can explain it to the audience,
okay.
Neuro-linguistic
programming. What it is, a guy called Richard Bandler and another guy, Grinder, they got together, and what they did is they took all of the best healing modalities that they're aware of, that people were working on, and they put it together in kind of a science. And basically NLP is the science of managing your own self, your mind, your spirit, your body, whatever. And a major part of that is hypnosis. So they use a lot of hypnosis, and a lot of hypnotic language and stuff like that. So that's kind of that led me into that world. And then I went on a career. I started a career in textiles. And for whatever reason, I was promoted up. And every time I got a promotion, I hated my job more, until finally I was a boss. I had no friends, because bosses don't have any friends. Yeah. And I was just thinking, I hate my life. I hate my life. And fortunately, the universe took everything away from me, just took everything. I had the ending of my life. And then it was kind of like, now what are you going to do? Now what are you going to do? And I thought, I think I'd like to be a therapist. I'd like to help people. And then I just started I did an NLP course. The first thing I did was life coach course online, which was the shittiest course I've ever known. I mean, it was like
really big a while ago.
Wasn't it?
Everybody wanted to be a life coach about 20 years ago.
But I was, the idea, what they were telling you, I mean, my mum could have given me better advice than that, But anyway, so I did that, and then I did a journey, a thing called The Journey, which is about hypnosis and healing.
I know about
and then, The Journey, have you heard of that? Yeah.
Yes, I have.
And then I did NLP, and then I moved on to hypnosis. And as soon as I got into that, I just thought, right, this is it. I've got to start helping people. I've always known I had to help people. It was just inner knowing. So from there, I've started, I did therapy sessions with people. I give it away freely to anybody who would have it. I forced it on people, as you do. You need therapy. And then little by little, it's grown into an organic thing. I up until the last 12 months, I haven't advertised ever. But I just had this constant stream of people because of the videos. I started doing a channel on helping ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and it was my focus was on trying to help them to overcome this terrible, terrible conditioning that they have.
So many people I know are still struggling with that. I have many, many friends that are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and it really did a number on their brain.
Unless they get help, they will suffer all of their life from that conditioning, because it's a hypnotic. I mean, I've just discovered that the cult of the Jehovah's Witnesses was a testing ground for the cult of society.
Yes, because it's funded by the Rockefellers. They've got I know that the Watchtower head office has a blank check book from the Rockefeller Society, I think, pretty much. Absolutely. And so it was, and also programming about Armageddon and the end of times and things like that. Yeah. So absolutely. I know all about this.
Yeah. So they use that as a testing ground to see what could they get people to do. And if you analyze what the Jehovah's Witnesses do, the way that they do it, it's basically it's that MK Ultra style training that they do, which is all based around fear and trauma and hypnosis. And so everyone who's in the Kingdom Hall at the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're all in hypnosis because they're bored shitless. And it's,
I remember I used to fall asleep every time. When we do Bible study, I'd be like falling asleep. Yeah. And it was horrible. Yeah.
As people are entering into that state of hypnosis, they're just pouring the suggestions in. Basically, I've been helping people for the last 15 years. And I use hypnosis principally when I'm working with people, but not always, because you can use NLP techniques, which are awaking techniques, but they're very, very hypnotic as well. And I do other things for trauma, like EFT, eye movement integration, havening. I don't know if you know havening, where you're doing this. Havening is absolutely fantastic for trauma.
I have heard of it. Wow, that's amazing. I have heard of EFT, which is the tapping technique.
Yeah.
And many people do it, but perhaps they don't know too much about it. But yeah, I just love that you've integrated so many you've just added more and more feathers to your cap. And I seem to, whenever I'm doing a reading for someone and they seem to be going along this path of entering into a healing, I pick up on, I think are you looking into researching or studying what you want to do? They seem to have already picked up several little feathers that are all building this picture. And I think that seems to be what's happened with you, Gordon. And so when you're doing this, and what I noticed with you when you did my session was it wasn't just hypnosis. It wasn't just like this bang hypnosis thing. There was a part of it. There was a large part of it that is also counselling and knowing how to speak and work through the person, because what you're doing is each individual that you're talking to has a particular story that is coming through, and you're having to piece together those things for them and reflect it back to them. Is that correct? Is that something that
absolutely, you're spot on with that. What I have to do, as a therapist, what you have to be is a detective. And you have to be able to listen really well, but not listen to what the person's telling you. Sometimes you're listening to what they're not telling you. Sometimes I'm listening for these hot words that come out, hot button words that people tell you that they're not aware of. Or I'm looking for an emotional reaction when I'll ask, for example, when I meet up with somebody for the first time, I get a benchmark. I benchmark them where they are. Okay. And I just ask these questions, and I use a scale of 0 to 10. And it's fascinating. So I'll say, right, I'm gonna ask you to say this sentence, and then you're gonna score on how true that feels, not what you think, how it feels. Okay. And we can try. Do you want to try one sentence? See how it works? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm scared. Okay.
Right. So I'll do it. So you say this out loud, and I want you to trust the feeling that you get. Don't pay any attention to what your mind says, because that's the ego going, no, it's got to be this. Yeah. Just the feeling. And 0 is it's not true at all, and 10 is it's absolutely true. Okay. So just say, I love myself, and tell me how true that feels.
I love myself. And the instant feeling I got was 8.
Okay, super.
That was the feeling I actually felt, an 8.
An 8, absolutely. So this is how I get a benchmark. But JC, you'll be amazed that, I mean, obviously when people come to me, they've got issues. I don't get people who are superb going, hey, I'm actually all right. I just fancied a bit of hypnosis. They come and they've got issues. Some people aren't even capable of saying that.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't even voice that. Or they say it and they burst into tears.
Yeah, and they can, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, I've seen it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I do the positive, I love myself. I'm a good person. I'm worthy of a good life. I like the person that I am. So I get a benchmark of where they are. Yeah. Okay. And, people who come, who really need help, often you get 0s, 1s, 2s. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. They're not broken. It's just how they're feeling. It's just how they're feeling.
That stage. Because I remember about 2 years ago, I had a traumatic recall of a childhood trauma that it was so deeply repressed. I had no idea it happened. And when I was in the process of getting therapy, the therapist said, you're going to experience this coming out at any time, and you won't know, and it will be, because it was pre-verbal when this happened to you, your body will react and you won't even know what's going on, right? Yeah. And I was listening, I thought, I need to relax tonight. And I put on some affirmations, some positive affirmations and meditation music. And I swear to you, the minute the woman said, I am worthy, my body, I don't know, instant, my brain went straight to my left hip, trauma in the left hip, and I started panicking. I had this massive PTSD attack, and I'm going, and at the time when I was married, I was saying, I was just looking at my husband, he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I don't know. And then it just burst, and so if 2 years ago, if you had said to me, say the sentence, I am worthy, I probably would have not been able to say it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as you say it now, what number do you get of how true it is?
Okay.
We're doing a therapy session. Yay.
Okay. All right, I'll say it. I am worthy. Ooh, I got a little tinge of it. But I see the number 7 in my head, so I am working on it. Okay.
Exactly the number that I got as well. What I've done this for so long, it's bizarre. And obviously when you're working with somebody, you're very connected. I know the number that they get, and I know when they're lying, because some people lie about it. So and obviously it's a lot about, I can feel the emotion as it comes through. And so people, I'll say, I say I'm worthy, and say I'm worthy, and they'll go, what? That's about an 8. I think, you liar. It wasn't an 8. I said,
they're really in their ego then, aren't they? They're really in their false purses.
What happens, JC, is this.